What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate today for June the 3rd of 2019. My name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. Of course, as always, I do hope this one finds you well, and if you happen to be brand new to the podcast, this is a daily gaming news podcast hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, right here live on twitch.tv/Samuel Adams to catch you up on the hottest gaming news of the day, or on Monday's case, the weekend. And there was a good bit of interesting news coverage that we will go over here briefly. But the show is then taken down from Twitch, put up on youtube.com/Samuel Adams Media, as well as podcast services around the world if you prefer the audio format of shows. But today, we have word that Cuphead is going to be playable in Tesla cars, including the Model 3, the Model S, and the Model X, just in case you did want to experience even more road rage. I know, that's an old joke at this point, but it's one that's worth repeating. On top of that, we have news about Minecraft Story Mode being delisted, PlayStation Plus prices are going up in Europe, Bethesda, specifically, a big old executive, is going to be making some statements about Fallout 76. It may or may not be Todd Howard. It is Todd Howard. Nintendo is taking a road trip that you could get in on. Pokémon GO is ending the Apple Watch support, just in case you were concerned about that, because I know that's a big platform for that game. On top of that, Celeste is getting some pretty beefy DLC for free. Baldur's Gate and more are going to be getting some remasters, some re-releases on consoles, and on top of that, Baldur's Gate 3 is being teased. And finally, we will round out the show with a celebration of my favorite game of all time, Tetris, because that is the beast of them all. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's top stories. Cuphead will be playable in Tesla Model 3, Model S, and Model X cars. Cuphead, the memorable 2017 bullet hell shooter that's meticulously styled after a 1930s cartoon, will soon be playable on an unlikely new platform, Tesla's fleet of electric cars and their built-in dashboard screens. The breakout hit, which debuted on Xbox One and PC before being ported to Nintendo Switch earlier this year, is on its way to Tesla's Model 3, Model S, and Model X, as Tesla's CEO Elon Musk revealed on episode 200 of my weekly Tesla podcast, Ride the Lightning, the author says. Cuphead, we've got working, Musk said. The developers have been helping us make it work. It's a cool game. It's insanely difficult. It's sadistically difficult. It's a twisted plot. It's dark. It looks like some cute little Disney thing, and you're like, this plot is very dark, he added with a laugh. Musk had recently tweeted about how he and his team have been porting the Unity game engine, which Cuphead runs on, to work in Teslas. According to Maha Moldenhauer from Studio MDHR, the developer of Cuphead, the Tesla version is looking good and already running nice and clean. Studio MDHR and Tesla are targeting a release date for later this summer, and the in-car version will only include the Inkwell Isle 1 section of the game due to the storage limitations of Tesla vehicles, which Musk discusses in the interview. When Tesla reached out to us to bring Cuphead to their vehicles, we were thrilled, Moldenhauer said. Finding out that Mr. Musk was a fan of our game was extremely humbling, and getting a chance to work with such an innovative company has been really exciting. We hope Cuphead can add some classic fun to such forward-thinking vehicles. She told me that their only requirements in agreeing to the project were that it has to play super clean with regard to frame rate. It's a tight game, she said, and that it had to control precisely. As such, only a wired USB controller will work with Tesla version, or you cannot play it using the car's touchscreen controls. Tesla has already released a playable suite of classic Atari games for the Model 3, Model S, and Model X, including Asteroids, Lunar Lander, and more, and those can be played using the touchscreen or a USB gamepad. You can access them via the Tesla Atari, haha, good little dad pun there, Elon, icon in the UI's Easter egg basket. All games, including Cuphead and Tesla Atari, can be played while the car is in park and no other time at all, which I think is a pretty good move. But wow, what a cool concept this is. And I think when this story broke, everybody was kind of in shock, because you're like, can we really do that? Because who would have thought, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that you would be able to play a game that was released on consoles and saw a lot of success on a car? That's insane to me. We're in the age of future technology. It's blowing my mind. But of course, this is a story worth leading with for the day because it shows where the industry could potentially be going in the future. Gaming isn't just restricted to a console at home. Gaming isn't just restricted to a PC or even a handheld on the go if you really want to break it down. Gaming is beginning to kind of leak into every other aspect of life, and when companies begin to get behind that and accept that, you start to see these cool projects pop up, which is exactly what we have here today. So if you do want to play at least a chunk of Cuphead on your Tesla, then it should be out later this summer, and man, what a cool story that one is. However, one thing you won't be playing this summer, unless you download it very soon, is Minecraft Story Mode, because it will be delisted on June the 25th. Grab it now if you want it. Another title, from Telltale Games' back catalog will be disappearing this year. Minecraft Story Mode, the spin-off of Mojang's insanely popular Craftathon, will be leaving digital marketplaces on June 25th, 2019. All platforms and both seasons will be affected, which includes an insane amount of legacy consoles. Story Mode had a home on the PS3, Wii U, and Xbox 360, along with mobile devices and current-gen hardware, so there's potentially a lot of customers that might be losing access to the game. In a message over on the official Minecraft website, publisher Mojang insists that players download all remaining episodes prior to them being delisted. I'm not sure, the author says, if that is a precautionary step or if the servers on each platform will actually cease to host the titles for users that already own them. So, to take a brief pause right there, for those that don't know, normally if a game gets delisted from any kind of online storefront, you can still download it and play the game, even if it isn't up on the actual storefront itself, which I believe happened to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD in my case, and I downloaded that from Steam and I can still play it, etc. There are many examples of this kind of situation. So hypothetically, it could just be wiped from the servers entirely to where you can't even download it if you've already purchased it, instead of the traditional take it down from the store, but if you bought it, you've still got it. Anyways, this is not completely unprecedented, as a few games on the 360 and famously, of course, the playable trailer for Silent Hill can no longer be downloaded regardless of ownership. If you aren't sure if you own any or have them downloaded, you should check now. Of course, very unfortunate news. I'm very much so for the preservation of games, both past and present. I think that it's incredibly important to have physical editions of games, but on top of that, that they don't depend entirely on internet connectivity or having a server-side version of the game or a portion of the game that is required to make it work. That's the beauty of gaming, and specifically legacy games, is that you can pop in something that's 10, 20, 30 years old and still get it going. That's what I like to do. And it's cool because you can see what developers worked on even if it doesn't exist online anymore. With Minecraft Story Mode, this game very well could be gone forever, except in YouTube videos and Twitch streams, etc. if people do download it. But overall, if you do want to get behind the scenes with Minecraft Story Mode, dive in, get a little bit of that narrative in your blocky love life, then by all means you can pick up Minecraft Story Mode and download it by June 25th of 2019 on the PS3, Wii U, Xbox 360. I believe it's on the PS4, Xbox One, PC, tons of other things that you will have to dive into for yourself. But overall, you can find more info on the official Minecraft website. However, you might also want to pick up PlayStation Plus this summer because, hey, there are some pretty good games coming out this month, and it's a good month to jump on board. But the prices are going up as of August the 1st. Sony is raising the subscription price of PlayStation Plus in Asia and Europe starting on August the 1st. According to various notices sent to subscribers by Sony, the price increase for PlayStation Plus will vary by sub-choice and location. In France, Germany, and Norway, only 1 month subscription prices will increase. All 3 subscription offerings have a price increase in Sweden and Switzerland, and of course, pretty much it varies between $5 and $10 USD, with the equivalent transition. The last price increase for PlayStation Plus was in 2017, and prices across Europe and the UK increased by $10, or the regional equivalent, for the yearly sub. The 3-month sub went up by $5, and the 1 month up by $1. Japan will see the price go from 514 yen to 850 yen for the 1 month sub, and 2150 yen for the 3-month sub. Prices will also increase in China, South Korea, Malaysia, Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, Hong Kong, and Thailand. And if you head through the links, you can see a complete breakdown of the various price changes for that specific region that you might be concerned about. Hopefully, the price increase will be justified should Sony start offering more games per month. At present, subscribers are only given 2 PS4 games per month now that Sony no longer offers PSP PS Vita or PS3 titles. As of press time, information on whether a price increase will be applied to other countries in mainland Europe or the UK is not known, and of course there are updates coming if there are updates to be had. But what's up with this price increase? I mean, truly, it doesn't really make sense to me unless there is something more coming. And if I had to hypothesize and guess, I would say there are changes coming to the program that are going to make it a bigger incentive for a lot of people around the world, and that requires a bit more money. I feel, for one, in my opinion, they should include PlayStation VR games every month. Even as somebody who does not own a PlayStation VR, if you want to push sales of that specific piece of hardware, to include it with the PlayStation Plus program and to give people something to play on a month-to-month basis is incredibly valuable, because then they can go pick up the headset. 9 times out of 10, if you're getting a PSVR, you already have PlayStation Plus, and therefore you have an entire library of games that is growing by the month that you can dive in and experience the PSVR with and on. But I digress. We will have to wait and see what exactly happens, but the price increase isn't justified in my mind, especially since they've transitioned away from PS3 and PlayStation Vita titles. I just don't know what the big bang for my buck is anymore, especially as it continues to rise. Of course, as somebody in the United States, my prices are currently pretty much standing steady, but will increases come to our region very soon? They very well could, depending on how everything goes in Europe. And of course Asia. But we will see what happens with the future of PlayStation Plus as the next generation of consoles begins to roll out. But you might be playing Fallout 76 if you have PlayStation Plus, because hey, it's an online game. But you might not be satisfied. Fallout 76 hit the fan. You get it? Because the shit hits the fan? Haha, but Bethesda was ready for Fallout 76's rough reception, according to Todd Howard. It's not how you launch, it's what it becomes. Bethesda director Todd Howard has said that the studio expected a rough reception for Fallout 76, and that he thinks the online RPG has somewhat damaged the developer's reputation. We knew we were going to have a lot of bumps, he said when asked by IGN whether Bethesda was prepared for the negative reaction. We were ready for it. We knew this is not the type of game that people are used to from us, and we are going to get some criticism on it. And a lot of that is very well-deserved criticism. Asked whether Fallout 76's launch had dealt any lasting damage to Bethesda's reputation or to the Fallout name, Howard said, "I'm sure it's had some. I would be naive to say it's had zero, but I think if people come to the game now, they would be surprised." Really? Really? Sure. Howard said he wishes the team had got Fallout 76 into players' hands earlier for more extensive testing. The main takeaway we had was you've got to let it bake with a large live audience for longer than we did. There are just certain things you can never see until it's running 24/7 for a number of months. This could have taken the form of something like Steam Early Access or a larger beta that was free for anyone who played Fallout 4, he said. However, he believes the game has really turned around into a fabulous game with an incredible community behind it. We felt strongly this is a game we want to play, and this is something we really want to do. In all of the games like this, there's a difficult period when you launch. It's not how you launch, it's what it becomes, and I couldn't be prouder of the team that has worked on it. So the question is Fallout 76 worth going back to in its current state? In my opinion, absolutely not, probably, but it has improved. Stability has improved. The content has improved a bit, but at the same time, people still aren't talking about Fallout 76. Whenever you're in an interview with Todd Howard, of course he's going to make it seem like Fallout 76 is doing very well. That's his job, to get you to play the game. But people aren't talking about this game. I don't see anybody playing it in the online sphere. It came out, it hit, it was big for about 2 weeks, and then everybody realized, oh, this is bad. And so that's pretty much where it's sat for a good long while. Now, have there been improvements? Absolutely. Is there still a community behind it? Absolutely. Is it ever going to be as strong as something else that is similar, like Elder Scrolls Online? Although two different genres, two different styles of games, a similar kind of concept, I would say probably not. Elder Scrolls Online, however, is a perfect example that proves what Todd Howard is saying is not completely and totally BS, because ESO launched and it didn't do that well right out of the gate. It was fine, it got a lot of players going, but then a sharp drop in player counts kind of plagued the game there for a hot minute, and then as more expansions have come out with Tamriel Unlimited that also launched, it's one of those situations where the game has really seen a resurgence and kind of boomeranged back to where it is doing very well. And of course, this week there is a big expansion for ESO coming out on top of that. But when it comes to Fallout 76, still up in the air as to whether or not it will ever actually be the game that people wanted it to be. Maybe Fallout just isn't cut out for the MMO lifestyle. I don't know. But of course, that game is on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Nintendo Switch, however, does not have Fallout 76, but what it does have, an 18-wheeler to drive itself around the country and show you what it's capable of. Nintendo is taking a road rule style trip across the US to pimp the Switch. It's not your ride. Haha. As part of Nintendo's plan for world domination, just Nintendo's plan. Multiple Switch units per household. They are kicking off a series of tours across the US to spread the good word. Basically, it starts after the E3 madness has been ended in Chicago and ends on October the 6th at Georgia National Fair. Participating states include Illinois, Wisconsin, California, Washington, Pennsylvania, Iowa, Kentucky, New York, Minnesota, New Mexico, Massachusetts, and Georgia. The list of games includes Super Mario Maker 2, which by the time it debuts at the first stop in Chicago, won't be out yet. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Pokemon Let's Go, both editions of the game, and Super Mario Party, as well as Splatoon 2. Amazingly, and Ghost Town Games / Team 17 must be over the moon about this, Overcooked 2 will also be on display as the only third-party game. Other than that edition, this is basically a world tour of 10 million plus selling sure thing games. Either way, maybe you'll get a chance to test out the Switch if you haven't already. And again, you can find that full extensive list of the locations at which this is going to be available. But again, I do want to point out, these are games that have been proven to be successes, and so what Nintendo is doing is trying to tap into an audience that doesn't already have a Nintendo Switch, that doesn't play Nintendo products, that doesn't really necessarily know what they want to purchase when it comes to a gaming console, piece of gaming hardware, etc. And it's a pretty good move. Of course, we've seen Sony do the exact same thing with PlayStation, where you load everything up in an 18-wheeler, you set up a tent, and boom, just set up a ton of kiosks and have a giant demo day. And that is a really effective way to market your product. People like feeling connected to a company. It's the same thing as a band going around the country and doing, signings and book tours and meeting fans and shaking hands. Politicians do the exact same thing, where whenever you get that FaceTime with people, whenever you actually interact with people, it changes the way that they perceive what exactly is happening. And so whenever you're considering all of this and whenever you're taking into consideration what Nintendo is doing, it simply makes sense. But if you do want to dive into some Nintendo Switch titles as they are on the road, then by all means you can check out a little road trip from Nintendo coming to a city near you and a state near you relatively soon, again ending up on October the 6th of 2019 and starting off on June 26th just after E3. However, Pokemon GO is not going to be on your Apple Watch when these events roll around. Pokemon GO is ending support for the Apple Watch so users can just focus on one device. The still massive Pokemon GO continues to change and evolve, much like Pokemon themselves, and the next step for the ARG hit involves discontinuing Apple Watch support. Pokemon GO is enormous. It dominates our Pokemon page, so it might seem odd to see it dropping support for the Apple Watch, meaning that players can no longer track steps, XP progress, and nearby Pokemon and Pokestops on their watch as of July the 1st. But as Niantic explains in their brief announcement, there is a simple enough reason for this. Adventure Sync has rendered the app redundant. And so, the Adventure Sync update, which we have covered in detail before, allows you to sync up your Pokemon GO with your phone's fitness app to reward you for steps taken even when you don't have the Pokemon GO app loaded up. It means that there are less incentives to use a tracking device of any kind for your wrist, and Niantic decided it would be better to focus on a single app. Because Adventure Sync allows trainers the option of tracking their steps, earning buddy candy, and hatching eggs in one mobile device rather than two separate devices, we want to focus on building Adventure Sync so that trainers will no longer have to split their gameplay between two devices, the post reads. And again, the support for the Apple Watch is ending on July the 1st, just in case you still used that. But again, it makes sense why this is going away, because quite frankly, you don't need it anymore. If you have an application that works with tracking your steps, then you can just pop your phone in your pocket, and even if you have something like a Fitbit like I wear, you don't necessarily need to have any kind of dedicated tracking device to pick up your footsteps. The iPhones do it. It's totally fine and there and ready to be used. So, if you do have the Pokemon GO app installed on your Apple Watch, and that's the only reason that you were left wearing it, you can take that thing off. You're free now. Dobby is a free elf. But Maybe you don't like playing Pokemon GO, maybe you like playing Celeste, a very beautiful looking game indeed, but it's getting some free ultra hard DLC that will contain more than 100 levels. Challenging platformer Celeste upcoming free DLC will be even more generous than I first thought, the author says. It will contain more than 100 levels, creator Matt Thorson revealed yesterday, which is more than the dev team initially intended. To put that into perspective, the full game had just over 700 levels, so this Chapter 9 DLC is another significant slice. We already know that these new levels will be extra hard, will not contain any collectible strawberries, and will have new items and mechanics. The DLC does not yet have a release date, and Thorson said the ballooning scope has caused the team to miss internal targets. Given how good the base game was, I am sure it will be worth waiting for. And of course, Celeste, phenomenal looking game, number one, phenomenal playing game, number two, and a really, really good story on top of that. Just one of the best games that I have played in the past 5 years in terms of platformers. Really, really cool little project here. So if you do have Celeste, jump in, pick up that free DLC. Again, Chapter 9 coming up pretty soon. Very exciting to see 100 new levels in Celeste. In fact, I might have to pick this game up again. Because I had it on the Xbox, I sold the Xbox, I want to play this game again. It's just so genuinely good. It's just a fantastic game. And you might be a fan of a lot of other games as well, including Baldur's Gate and other classic D&D RPGs. And I have good news for you if that is the case, they are coming to consoles. BioWare and Black Isle Classics coming to PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. Skybound Games and developer Beamdog are bringing classic Dungeons & Dragons games Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, Icewind Dale, and Neverwinter Nights to Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One this fall. Originally developed by BioWare and Black Isle Studios, the console versions of those games will be enhanced edition releases developed by Beamdog. Those role-playing games will be available as part of 3 releases. The Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition pack includes Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, and Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear expansion, and new original content developed by Beamdog to bridge the 2 games, coming out September the 24th. The second is Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, Icewind/Dale Enhanced Edition. This includes both games and all downloadable content available September 24th in North America and September 27th elsewhere. And Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition is coming out December the 3rd, includes the game and all of its downloadable content with co-op and online multiplayer. Now each game collection, all 3 of those that I listed off, are going to be $49.99 a piece, again coming out on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch. So what's the difference? Why should you go out and pick up this remaster, this re-release, whatever you want to call it? Beamdog has upgraded all of the above titles with native support for high-resolution widescreen displays, controls optimized for console controllers, new standalone content, new characters and classes, new voice sets, expanded character creation options, improved multiplayer functionality, and redesigns of the UI and UX, as well as bug fixes, balance changes, and more. The re-releases are a great opportunity to get caught up on Baldur's Gate just in case someone happens to release Baldur's Gate 3 in the coming weeks, or at least tease some kind of announcement. Which there is one coming, so this is exactly why this is happening. But if you are a fan of D&D, if you're a fan of these classic games, then you might want to dive in and check out some of these re-releases because, hey, they're happening, and specifically on the Nintendo Switch, these are going to be pretty impressive little projects, if I did have to guess. Again, not for everyone. Some re-releases don't have that same kind of nostalgia trip that a lot of people have for the entire gaming sphere. It just doesn't work like that. But people that do love these games, they're going to be very happy to see that they look very good. It's not over-the-top remaster. It's not an over-the-top re-release. It still has some classic feel, some classic vibe to it. But to have them on consoles for the first time is a very cool little asset in and of itself. But if you do want to pick it up again, coming out between September 24th and December the 3rd, depending on what edition, what kind of release you want to get. But overall, exciting times for fans of Baldur's Gate and, of course, tons of other classic games in a similar vein. But my favorite game is turning 35 this week. Tetris is turning 35. It's still the best puzzle game of all time, they say at Engadget. Of course, they have a full write-up on Tetris, its evolution, stuff like Tetris Effect, all of these big name games that have come out over the years in the Tetris franchise. But I just wanted to point out that Tetris is turning 35. And that's awesome because I absolutely adore Tetris. I will always adore Tetris. If you have not played Tetris Effect, it is so beautiful. It is so gorgeous. It is just one of the best puzzle games ever. On top of that, Tetris 99, very fun game on the Nintendo Switch that's also not now tied directly to Nintendo Switch Online. Totally worth playing. Puyo Puyo Tetris is one that came out recently on the Nintendo Switch and also, I think, PC. But tons of Tetris experiences out there, even just in browser. If you have never played Tetris, do yourself a favor and play some Tetris. Oh, you poor soul. You need some Tetris in your life. But that rounds out today's top gaming news. Of course, if you happen to be brand new to the program, again, hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time if you did want to check out the hottest gaming news of the day, then taken down and put up on youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia as well as podcast services around the world. So follow, subscribe, do all of those things that you do with your time and your money. But I will catch you on tomorrow's episode. You guys have a phenomenal rest of the day, and peace.